Going to do some practice problems here so you have another thing to look at for your review. We're going to classify number one, A, B, and C as rational, irrational, integers, whole numbers, and natural. So this first one is just rational. It can be written as a fraction, but it's not an integer, a whole number, or natural. B, for -10, is both an integer and rational. And then the square root of 13 is irrational. It can't be written as a fraction. Number two, we're going to look at the order. So if we look at this, if I put 29/12 into my calculator, I get around 2.23. When I put the square root of 5 into my calculator, I get, I get 2.46. I get 2.23. So I'm going to put it in the order square root 5, 2.4, 29/12. Okay, pretty straightforward and simple. I'm going to look at number 3. I'm going to first distribute. Don't forget to times it by both things. And I get 3x minus 6x minus 4 equals 9. 3x minus 6x gives me -3x. Minus 4 equals 9. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. -3x equals 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And if I divide that by a -3, I can leave it as a fraction or make it a decimal. I'm just going to leave mine as a fraction. -13/3. And it's okay if you get a fraction as your answer. Number 4, I'm going to distribute the 1/2. Remember, timesing something by 1/2 is the same thing as dividing it by 2. So I get 5x plus 2 equals 17. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. I get 5x equals 15. I divide both sides by 5, and I get x equals 3 as my answer. All right, I'm going to turn the page over, and we're going to do some of those literal equations. All right, this one says solve for b. So the first thing I'll do is divide by h. And I get 1/2 b equals a over h. And then I'm going to times by the reciprocal. And I'm going to get b equals 2a over h. And that's my final answer. Number 6, we're going to solve for x. I'm going to subtract b from both sides. Y minus b equals mx. Divide both sides by m. Y minus b over m equals x is my final answer. So these should just be like solving for equations, except you've got letters at the end. Number 7, I'm going to times both sides by 6. So I'm going to get xy equals 6w. And then I'm going to divide both times by y. So that I get 6w over y as my final answer. Okay, we're going to do some inequalities, which are just like solving equations, except if we divide by a negative, we have to flip my sign, and then we're going to have to do this graph at the end. So the first step is to distribute. -4x plus 2 is less than 10. I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. -4x is less than 8. Now I'm dividing by a negative, I'm dividing by -4. So I'm going to flip my inequality, -2. X is greater than -2. So I'm going to put an open circle over -2 and point towards greater than. Okay, well, let's do a couple more of those. Okay, for here I've got x's on both sides, so I'm going to add 8x to both sides. And I'm going to get 4x minus 2 is less than or equal to 10. I add 2 to both sides. I'm going to end up with 4x is less than or equal to 12. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And I am going to get x is less than or equal to 3. So I'm going to put a closed circle over 3, and x is less than or equal to it. So it points in that direction. Okay, so here I have got this equation, which is a few more steps. So I'm going to distribute 2x plus 6 plus 2x is less than or equal to 18 minus 4x. I'm going to add these two together. I get 4x plus 6 is less than or equal to 18 minus 4x. I am going to subtract 4x from both sides. And I'm left with 6 is less than or equal to 18 minus 8x. I'm going to subtract 18 from both sides. So I get negative 12 is less than or equal to negative 8x. And then I'm going to just divide by negative 8. When I divide, make sure you switch it, and I'm going to get 3 halves, because it's reducing 12 eighths, less than or equal to x. And again, if you get a fraction, that is okay as well. Okay, so those are just some practice problems to think about.